this is going to be an unscripted video. I'm going to talk about just some things that have been in my mind regarding MGTOW, the MGTOW community, and some recent developments. I may go down a few rabbit holes, I may go on a few tangents, but I hope everything comes together in the end. Anyway, something that's been on my mind recently since Dark Knight took his channel down, and it hasn't just been Dark Knight. Neo Unplugged shut his channel down, Ravishing Rick Rude shut his channel down. There's a lot of MGTOW shutting their channels down. And I'm not against this. I think this is actually a healthy individual movement for these men. And some people really take it too far. They think that if a person is a MGTOW, that they have to constantly make content about MGTOW, and they can never do anything other than that. Like, that has to be their entire identity. So I guess let's back up a bit. So what is MGTOW? At least to me. Now, I'm not saying I'm the authority on anything. I'm just saying this is my personal interpretation. To me, MGTOW is about surviving in a gynocentric society. Civilization has always been more or less gynocentric, but it's gotten really out of hand lately. You know, before prenups actually were worth a shit, a man could protect his assets and his children from a vindictive cunt who was going to marry him and take all of his stuff. And now all that is out the window. You know, so it clearly does not make sense for a man to get married. As I explained in other videos, when a woman gets married, she has guaranteed access to that man's income for the rest of her life. She gets half his shit up front during the divorce, and then if she qualifies for alimony, she gets about 20-25% of his income going forward, sometimes for the rest of her life. And that doesn't even include child support. So a woman who primarily gets married in order to get financial resources has guaranteed access to those resources regardless of how the marriage turns out. Now, what does the man get? He gets nothing. A woman doesn't have to have sex with him. A woman could easily just say after the honeymoon, we're never having sex again. I've decided I don't want to have sex with you, and that's the end of the story. There's nothing he can do. He can't, like, enforce his rights as the husband to make her have sex with him. Yet, she has the right to demand that he provide money to her for the rest of her life. But now it's even worse. So now men are walking away from marriage. You can see the marriage rates among millennials. It's like the lowest, you know, in recorded history pretty much in Western civilization. So now what they're doing is they're doing this yes means yes shit. So now just having casual sex with a woman, you're putting your dick in a guillotine. Will she accuse me of rape? Who knows? I guess I'll find out next week. I mean, she could be begging for it and everything, but she'll decide she was drunk or whatever, and then she cries rape the next day. Because she doesn't want a reputation as that kind of girl. So she'll just destroy your life. And some people are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, because most rape cases you're not convicted. Yeah, it still destroys your life. I was falsely accused of rape when I was in high school. And when it happened to me, the girl didn't even file charges. She just spread the rumor around school that I raped her. People were trying to kick my ass. Girls would not date me. They just swore me off. I had to date a girl like a county away who went to a totally different school district in high school because this one fucking cunt accused me of rape. And everyone believed her. No charges were filed. I was never arrested. Obviously, I was never convicted. But it destroyed my social life. Absolutely destroyed it. Nothing happened to her. Absolutely nothing. And this is the world that men face. And what's a man to do? So you really don't want to get married. Oh my God, you do not want to get married. But then you got to be careful about having sex with women at all. You got to be careful about what's going to happen. Is she going to cry rape the next day? Is she going to destroy my life with absolutely zero consequences or zero incentive to disincentivize her from doing this? You didn't call her back. You didn't buy her something nice. I'm going to cry rape and you're fucked. Nothing's going to happen to me. I'm a girl. Tee-hee. Your reputation's fucked. In fact, I might get some random guys to kick your ass or possibly kill you. Because they'll do it. White knights, they'll throw their lives away for some random woman they don't even give a shit about. And that's why MGTOW exists. MGTOW is about surviving in this complete bullshit ass-backward society that overtly hates men. To me, MGTOW is about surviving. It's not really about reform, because you can't reform the system. I dabbled in the MRM for a while. The problem is, women vote. They're 51% of the population. Anytime you try to do any sort of government reform, it's never going to go anywhere. We passed the point of no return. There's no point trying to reform the system from within. It's not going to happen. So you can't reform the system. The laws are not going to go away because, the needs of the woman will always outweigh the needs of the man. So what can men do other than protect themselves? And that's what MGTOW's about. Now, beyond that, once men discover, the red pill, they realize how bullshit the system is, and they discover MGTOW, they learn about gynocentrism, they learn about hypergamy, and they're like, oh man, yeah, I'm never getting married. In fact, I'm going to be really careful who I date. I'm going to be real careful about this. I may even think about stop dating altogether because it's a waste of time and it's a lot of risk and so on. They swallow that red pill to digest the red pill. They get over the anger, and they inevitably come to the question, now what? Now that I've made these commitments to myself, what do I do? And this is where the road starts to fork for a lot of different MGTOW. Because the thing is, men in society are conditioned to serve. Men are told their entire lives to be a good man or to be a good boy or to be good in general, they have to be serving some greater purpose. They have to serve their wife, their children, their country, their community, their religion. They have to serve something. Men are basically created to serve. So when a man decides to go MGTOW, when he turns his back on the exploitation of his utility by these different groups, and it's not just women. I talk about this in my Matrix of Tribal Identity videos. There's a lot of different groups that want to exploit you. They want to turn your life towards their goals. They want you to throw your life away to advance their goals. So this can be nationalism, racism, religion, whatever. Whatever group is trying to exploit you to get you to serve their ends instead of your life. They're just as bad as the women trying to exploit your life to serve their ends. If you're living your life in service to a woman, or whether you're living your life in service to a country or a race, they're no different. You're not living your life for yourself. But we as men are told our entire lives that that's how we receive our validation. That's what the purpose of our life is. So you come to this fork in the road. Once you've swallowed the red pill, once you've committed to yourself to do what you want, you have to then decide what you want. What do you want to live your life for? You can just sit around and play video games. I don't care. But video games get old. They're not that fulfilling. And if you've never been in that position before, where you've been more or less independent, it can be really scary. Because you have to take responsibility for your own life. Human beings, especially, we're social creatures. We expect someone else to give us direction. We look around to our peers and we mimic the behaviors we see. The old saying, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. That's what we do as a species. We copy our peers. If you remember, those awkward years in high school, once you started, you hit your stride in puberty, you were becoming an adult, and then you started asking questions, who am I? What makes me who I am on a personality level? And maybe you would copy, fashion from your friends, and you'd turn to this source or that source, trying to define yourself. Well, eventually you probably kind of fell into something, whether it was religion, your job, your career, whatever. You fell into something that gave you direction. You never actually took that final step to chart your own course. In fact, most people, given the choice, would rather work for someone else than start their own company. They don't want that responsibility. Very few people want that responsibility, but responsibility is intrinsically tied to freedom. And MGTOW, at the end of the day, is all about freedom. It's about men freeing themselves from these bonds, from the tribal identity, from the exploitation and the utility. But once you're free, you're responsible for yourself. And this is where I think a lot of the videos I've seen recently about the MGTOW community and so-called entitlement come in. There are a lot of men who've come to MGTOW because they've been hurt, because they want to understand why and what and how. And once they do, they want to replace the tribes they were serving with a new tribe. And they want to make MGTOW that tribe. But MGTOW can never be that tribe. MGTOW is not a group that has an agenda or a goal. It's individual men sharing information and then going their own way. So when a MGTOW shuts their channel down and decides, you know what, YouTube isn't in the cards for me, for whatever reason, maybe they just ran out of things to say. Maybe they came in, thought they were going to become the next Sandman, and it didn't work out. Who cares? Just because they're shutting their channel down or they decide to stop making MGTOW content or they decide to shift the focus of their channel, maybe from MGTOW concepts to something else that's more interesting to them, who cares? That doesn't harm the community because the community is spontaneous. When a man discovers the red pill and comes to MGTOW, he's a member of the community. When he's swallowed the red pill, digested it, understood the lessons, and he's ready to go back into society and do whatever he wants to do. All men are being screwed right now. Even the manginas, the male feminists, they're being harmed by this environment. It's not good for any man. This is a bullshit environment for men right now. But when you come to MGTOW or when you discover the red pill, regardless of the context, it doesn't necessarily change who you are. If you're an individualist, you're going to bring your individualism to MGTOW. And if you're a collectivist, if you're the type of person who finds security in the group, you're going to bring that to MGTOW. And it doesn't necessarily make you weak. It doesn't make you wrong. It doesn't make you, some whatever. It just makes you you. Individualism versus collectivism, neither is right or wrong objectively. It's all about what's better for you. There's no objective morality. If collectivism works for you and you find people who are like-minded and you form a collective and you help each other and do that stuff, great. If individualism works better for you, then great. We need to respect, and I've made several videos about this. This is one of those concepts I really wish would catch on and more people would talk about, the respect for individual self-actualization. There are men who talk about ghosting, just dropping off the grid, working odd jobs for chump change and just like living off the land type of thing, and that's fine for them. I have no interest in doing that at all. I love technology too much. I like having electricity and climate control and computers and internet. But if you're all about the ghosting, that's cool. I have nothing but respect for you if that's what makes you happy. Self-actualization is about doing what you want that will make you happy. And that's going to differ from person to person. There's no right or wrong answer. There is no, this is the true path and you're wrong. Whatever works for you is going to be different. So, when the question is asked, what now? I understand MGTOW. I understand the red pill. I understand hypergamy and gynocentrism. What now? I can't answer that question. No other MGTOW can answer that question. Not because we don't know the answer for ourselves, but because our answer isn't going to be the same as your answer. It's something you have to discover for yourself. And all I can do is encourage you to just think about it, meditate about it. And if you think about something and just kind of let the answers kind of form in your mind, don't even try to answer it. Don't try to come up with a solution. Just seek to understand the question. Understand the question from every angle you possibly can think of. And then the answer sometimes just pops in your mind. And it makes sense and it just snaps together. But I can't answer these questions for you. Nobody can. Just think about some thought exercises I've found that are helpful is imagine you won the lottery and you didn't have to work anymore. Other than, after you've bought stuff and after you've gone on trips and after you've paid off your debts, what would you do with your life? You're still going to be around the world for a couple decades, sitting on the beach and drinking and golfing. All that's going to get really old after a while. You have to live your life for something. So what are you going to live your life for? If you could live your life for something, what would you live it for? Whatever that answer is for you, start taking steps to make that happen. Most likely, whatever goal you have for your life is going to involve money. So that's why I made my Monkeynomics videos about teaching personal finance. If it's something like a foreign language, there are courses online that are free or cost very little to teach you a foreign language. I've been going to college for a while. I'm halfway through my master's and I have 2 bachelor's degrees. And I could tell you, there is nothing I learned in college that I couldn't find for free online. Absolutely nothing. The information is all out there. It's all free. The only reason you need to go to college is because you need a degree for your job. If you don't need that piece of paper to get the job you want, there's no reason to go to college. The information is free. In fact, you could usually find the syllabus of a college class online as well. You could actually take that syllabus and look up what you need to study and learn everything you would have learned had you paid money for that class for free. So if you just want knowledge, it's out there. Teach yourself a foreign language. Learn about personal finance. Make your dreams happen. Live your life for something. There is going to be a point where you've worked through the anger and you've worked through the pain. You've gotten over it and you're ready to move on. And that destination that you move on to is going to differ from person to person. But that's good. I'm happy for the men who move on and find fulfillment doing what they love. That is the ultimate expression of a MGTOW. You don't need to be making YouTube videos to be a MGTOW. You need to be living your life for yourself. Men going their own way. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.